Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be dipping our toes into a little bit of historic best of one with a really random deck that does interesting things. It's pretty linear in the way that it does them, I suppose, but you know, you don't see many decks like it. Today we're going to be playing a Gruul lands deck, essentially, which is built around the card Sylvan Awakening. Sylvan Awakening being a 3-mana sorcery. Until your next turn, all lands you control become 2/2 elemental creature tokens with reach and indestructible and haste. They are still lands. So the idea is that we're going to be making a lot of land drops every single turn and hopefully having enough to kill our opponent with Sylvan Awakening on its own. We're only running 2 copies because we have lots of ways of digging towards this card anyway, so we should be able to find it easily enough. So, in Historic, we have access to the old school Explore package, so we've got Wildgrowth Walker as the main recipient of the benefits of this. So, 2 mana 1/3. Whenever a creature you control explores, you put a 1/1 counter on Wildgrowth Walker and you gain 3 life. It's a great way of surviving until the late game, to the point where we can actually cast our Sylvan Awakening and win. Our Explore creatures are going to be Merfolk Branchwalker and Jadelight Ranger. One being a 2 mana 2/1 that explores, and the other being a 3 mana 2/1 that explores twice, which means double triggers for the Wildgrowth Walker. For those who don't know what Explore means, it essentially is revealing the top card of your library, and if it's a land, you get to put it into your hand. Otherwise, you put a 1/1 counter on that creature, and you can choose to put it in your graveyard if you want. So we're going to be making additional land drops by hopefully exploring lands into our hand. And we've got Dryad of the Elysian Grove, which is a new Theros Beyond Death card to allow us to do this. It's a 3 mana 2/4 that says we can play an additional land on each of our turns. And from Ixalan as well, we have the 3 mana 5/5 Wayward Swordtooth, which has a send, which asks basically if we've got 10 or more permanents in play, then we can do some good stuff. And Wayward Swordtooth can't attack or block unless you got the City's Blessing. So once we got 10 permanents on board, then we can start swinging with a 3 mana 5/5. The whole purpose of these 2 cards though is that additional land drop part. And we can exploit additional land drops, because you might be asking yourself, how do we do that when we've got empty hand? Well, we move on over to Experimental Frenzy, a 4 mana enchantment that allows us to cast cards from the top of our library. However, we have the downside of not being able to cast cards from our hands. So if we end up drawing our Sylvan Awakening, we are going to have to sacrifice the Experimental Frenzy to itself, or destroy in this case, for the 4 mana at the bottom there. But hopefully we're going to be making an excessive amount of land drops every single time we hit a Dryad or a Wayward Swordtooth. Then we get to make an additional land drop, so hopefully we can play most of our deck and eventually find our Sylvan Awakening to win. We've also got Nissa right at the top end here, just as an alternative win con. Also gives us a little bit of extra mana should we have Experimental Frenzy out, but we've maybe not hit the land drops we need. Then the lands we have in play are going to be extra effective, and they allow us to play all of our cards in our deck. So that is essentially the list. There's a few changes that are not in the gameplay here. Right at the very end I noticed that I didn't have my castles in. It's usually something I end up doing. But we got 2 Castle Garenbriggs and 1 Castle Embereth, so that we can turn those lands into 3/2s, should we choose to do that. We will have to tap down our lands to do this kind of thing though, because obviously this will be turning into a creature, so we want to have at least like 20 power worth of creatures going through, which we can hopefully do with a Castle Embereth. Who knows. I also don't have 4 copies of Temple of Abandon, which is probably something that I should have. Allowing us to scry and change the outcome of the top card of our deck to whatever we need it to be is very useful, as is Fabled Passage here as well, allowing us to sack our Fabled Passage and search our library, essentially giving us a free shuffle to change what is on top of the deck. So without further ado, let's get into some gameplay, shall we? This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to personal deck critiques from myself every month, then check out the Patreon link down in the description below. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alright, we're in, and yeah, I guess this is the hand. I I probably don't want to keep this hand, although there's a branch walker that allows me to explore, so maybe it's okay. Turn 1 Llanowar Elves, turn 2 Branch Walker Temple, something like that. We've already got the Sylvan Awakening, which is our win con, so, you know, should be all good, right? Just have to find his pieces. Let's go. We're up against Born to Win, so this is going to be fun. Someone's very confident in their abilities. Alright, so Fountain of Renewal does its thing. I can't imagine Fountain doing too much over a long period of time, but you just never know. So it's going to be an artifact-based deck for sure. Let's go with... do we want to Temple before or after the Branch Walker? If we explore, we look at the top card. If it's a land we put into our hand, do we want that land? We don't want that land. So we want to probably make sure, yeah, that we don't hit it first. So let's get down the Branch Walker and then explore. It's a Stomping Ground. Yeah, we really need a play an additional land drop kind of card or Experimental Frenzy are really the cards we want here. Even a Nissa would be okay. We can pressure our opponent that way. Psy Master Thopterist. So whenever they play an artifact, they make a servo. Alright. Well, servos can do a pretty good job of blocking Sylvan Awakening tokens, that's for sure. I don't think these have got... yeah, they don't have Trample, so there's that. Alright, so we're going to play Rootbound Craig, we're going to play Wayward Swordtooth, which can give me an additional land drop, so that's going to allow us to go with a Stomping Ground tapped and pass the turn. Yeah, this is really where we want to see Experimental Frenzy now, so we can make the most of this. Golden Egg, alright. And another Golden Egg makes another servo. Got one more mana left. And it's a Fountain of Renewal. Wow, opponent's really done their thing. Oh, hello. Looks like we're going to do our thing as well. So, let's go Forest, Nissa. Get Nissa down. We don't want to play our Fable Passage. We want to save that for when we need to shuffle our library. There's really no reason to do it otherwise. And now we get to start swinging in with some good stuff. So these two are going to just die to Psy, so we just don't really want to do that. But if I can get multiples of things off the board, then that'd be nice. But looks like we're just going to just chump block. Which is totally fair. Yeah, thinning our deck's not necessarily what we want to be doing here anyway, so... Not too interested in going Fable Passage, because what we can do is if we hit... Oh, right. Cool. I was going to say if we hit another land, we increase our odds by not cracking this Fable Passage of doing that. So I'm just going to turn all my lands into elementals now. Like... I guess like so. Sylvan Awakening. Since we got the spare one, I should imagine that we can send this to a victory condition. There's no Settle the Wreckage to play around here, and there's going to be a lot of chump blocking. So blocks the 5. We've got some 5s over here as well, which need blocking. It's not lethal, but the second Sylvan Awakening plus Nissa stuff probably will be. Alright, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 we're dealing right now. Opponent's going to sack some stuff with Psy to draw cards. Alright. So close to a Nissa ult as well, so we'll be able to have indestructible lands. And then Settle the Wreckage is literally the only thing we have to worry about. And I think it is technically something that we do have to worry about. Revitalize, okay. Navigator's Compy. Up to 21. Oh, there's Experimental Frenzy. Alright, well, I think that's what we're going to do. We're just going to take all them lands off the top. Because we've already got enough to pressure our opponent to begin with, so let's go tap lands, let's play Branch Walker. Take that land off the top. Got a Wild Growth Walker. Gonna untap this forest. Gonna play Dryads. We got Fabled Passage, Llanowar Elves. Which hadn't have done what it just did there. That's just gotten rid of my ability to shuffle away. But that's fine. Yeah, let's just take the forest. Play the forest. And we've hit our limits. From here we can sack our stuff, but we've not got any more mana left over, so let's just go straight to combat. And swing. What we're going to do is we're going to ult Nissa. And then from there, just go Sylvan Awakening. Because we can crack this Frenzy on our end step. So they're going to start cracking to hopefully find a way out of this. Uh-huh. Alright. Pass the turn. Yeah, this is our last Sylvan Awakening in our deck as well, so we got to be aware of that. Mox Amber, sure. Adds a bit of mana. Mind Stone. Is this literally our opponent's only plan? I imagine they've got like a Tezzeret to do things. Alright, opponent. Have it your way. Alright, so we've got a Nissa ult, which we can go for now if we really want to. I think we're okay with that. It's indestructible lands. It's pretty decent. We don't have to go all in. So let's grab all the forests out of our deck, including the Stomping Ground. Tapped. They're always going to come into play tapped. And then we got the Dryads. Let's swing first in case they have Settle the Wreckage, I think. You have to make them use it as well, so... There we go. That'll do, I think, for now. Alright, so they're taking 6. Okay, draws a card. I suppose we can keep going all in, because reasons. So we got an additional land drop. We got an additional land drop. We got an additional land drop. It's tapped my Fabled Passage again. That's our additional land drop. We've got an additional land drop. And then there's a Nissa as well, so even if our opponent board wipes here, we're going to have some pretty decent attacking forces, keeping our lands around as well. So it needs to be literally Settle the Wreckage to get rid of our indestructible forests. I maybe shouldn't be as cautious about Settle the Wreckage as I am, but I honestly, truly believe that there is one in their deck. So it doesn't seem like a good idea to me personally to go with that. They've got Bolas's Citadel. Now they've only got the mana to settle on top of their deck. But I mean, they've got all the artifacts in the world to do other stuff. Fortunately, it's not going to do much good. Alright, so activate this. Destroy Experimental Frenzy. Let's go. Land, Sylvan Awakening, swing for a massive amount. Opponent's not going to let us do that though, but, you know, it's there, alright. Okay, we're in, and I like the look of this hand. We've got Wild Growth Walker and Branch Walker as a lovely little combo, and we've even got turn 1 Llanowar Elves. Who doesn't love turn 1 Llanowar Elves? Our opponent, usually. Alright, so where do we want to go with this? We can go Land Drop Wayward Swordtooth. I guess, might as well, yeah. Let's make our additional land drops now while we still can. There we go. And hopefully the Explorer on this allows us to make our land drops as well that way. So let's go Wild Growth Walker. Play a land, play Branch Walker, see if they've got a Lightning Strike for the Walker. They do not. We definitely don't want a Llanowar Elves. So we're going to pump the squads, we're going to get in. And that's pretty good turn 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're a permanent off of animating Swordtooth. And now we have. Alright, so we're going to swing, trade ranging Raptors with a Branch Walker. It's not great, but it opens up other attacks later. And they're very likely to block the Swordtooth there if I attack in singularly, so let's just get in more damage. Ooh, it's Naya Dinos. Okay. This could be very interesting. We certainly will win if we get our Experimental Frenzy in time and our opponent doesn't have Thrashing Brontodon down. Oof. Oh, but if they're going to go for just straight up kill Dryad, that's going to be great for us. Dryad being an enchantment creature does mean that Brontodon can hit it. Don't know if I would necessarily bother though, being the fact that we have one card in our hand, and now we don't. But to each his own. I'm going to keep the Fabled Passage uncracked, because if we do get Experimental Frenzy, then we do like having Passage around to shuffle the top card of our library. Carnage Tyrant, okay. Well, we got a Dryad. And now we're basically stopped from doing any kind of attacks, since Carnage Tyrant is a big boy. Been a while since we've seen him. Atali, oh boy. Well, we got the double block on that, but it's not great. We really need to see some good cards here. Experimental Frenzy. It's a stomping ground. Well, you know, that's the nature of this deck after all. Atali swings and gets our best card out of our deck. Oh, there's a Golter. Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, this... Oh, they didn't attack. Okay. Oh, Branch Walker. That's decent. Hits the Stomping Ground. Sure. Stomping Ground tapped. Pass the turn. I mean, maybe cracking Fabled Passage to reduce the odds of us drawing lands at this point might be a decent idea. And just really holding out on a good Experimental Frenzy, and maybe I shouldn't. 3 damage to each creature on that bit. Oh boy. Alright, gets rid of 2 of our blockers. Yeah, I'm going to crack this Fabled Passage, because if I draw 1 more land, I'm going to scream. So Raptors gets to thin the deck. Well, Jade Light Range is not too bad. It gains us loads of life and buys us a lot of time. There we go. That's exactly what we want to see on top. Experimental Frenzy is additional land drops. We're also gaining a ton of life as well. And I guess maybe swinging in with the Tali might not be good for us. Hopefully they don't go ahead and do that, because they will get Experimental Frenzy. Forerunner of the Empire, we're going to get Polyraptor. You'd be a cool player if you did. Needletooth Raptor, okay. Can hit our 5s, so we've got 1 good turn with Swordtooth then. And Reckless Rage on Dryad, so 1 less land drop for the turn. But here we go. What can we do? We can play Wild Growth Walker. We can play a land. We can Sylvan Awakening and do nothing. Fab. Alright. Oh, it could not get any worse. Now, First Eruption goes and deals 3 damage to all my creatures. If they sack a mountain, which obviously they will, because it's going to do a lot of good stuff. I mean, maybe they don't, because they've got the Needletooth Raptor and 4 in a combo. But no, they're going to go for it. Okay. I wish I had 1 more mana so I could crack my Frenzy on their end step into Sylvan Awakening, but it wasn't meant to be. We might still have time. We're on 32 life after all. Shake the foundations. Going after Wildgrowth Walker? Okay. Let's see how they choose to attack. They don't. That's a mistake. Alright, so we want to play enough to just leave 4 mana open here. Temple, we play Rootbound Crag, that's our first, our second, and that's our turn. We can go 4, 1, 2, 3, leave open 2 2/2s, it's just not enough, so we need to just not die here, and we will probably win. Raging Swordtooth, 1 damage to each other creature. Goodbye Branchwalker, goodbye Swordtooth. I would love for our opponent to just all attack. Yeah, I think we would have definitely lost if they'd have swung in with our Atali. They knew that we wanted the card on top, so it kind of should encourage them to lose their Atali in order to go ahead and do that kind of thing. But on 32... down to 5 we go. We crack Frenzy so that we can play the cards in our hand. Play Forests, play Sylvan Awakening. All of our lands become creatures. 2 blockers to our many attackers. Yeah, that was a game we should have lost, but I don't think our opponent was playing well enough there, unfortunately, to stop us. These are all indestructible, my friend. So, yeah. If we'd have not had that Experimental Frenzy on top, which Atali could have exiled over, wouldn't even have to cast it, as well, for the record. They wouldn't have had to play off the top card of their deck if they didn't want to. Yeah, then we would have just flailed and they would have had some decent attacks, but they didn't, and we win. So, that's the moral of this story. Be aggressive. Alrighty then, we're in, and we got a turn 1 Llanowar Elves into turn 2 Dryads. So turn 1, turn 2. Yeah, I think I like this hand. Leaves us with a lot of mana by the end of turn 2. So turn 1 Llanowar Elves. We even get a Scry at the end of it as well, which is quite nice. So we're looking for Experimental Frenzy, essentially, or other ways of drawing cards. Let's go Rootbound Crag, Dryad of the Elysian Grove, and Temple of Abandon. Not going to need that. We've already got the 2 lands for the turn anyway. So I'd rather hit that when we're frenzying. Opponent, what you doing? I guess turn 3 Nissa would be okay as well if you wanna, you know, give me that Frenzy. Ain't gonna be that way though. I'm just gonna play all of our lands, play Wildgrowth Walkers on the off chance that we get ourselves some Explore creatures, then we've got some attacking bodies ready to go. Only thing we have to worry about is Lightning Strikes and Lava Coils, which... Yep, go. Took 1 point off the board. It's totally fine by me. It appears I don't need the mana no more. Ooh, it's Teema. Okay. Well, we drew a land. Not too blown away by that, to be honest. But let's swing for 4. If this is going to be our attacking force, then so be it. Go, go, gadget, walkers, and dryads. Just play our land. We're all in. It's a running counter magic. I'm not holding cards in hand. We're just going for it. I might want an extra 6 points on board or something like that. So let's swing in again, see what happens. Opponent does nothing. Let's see if they counter this. If they've got counter magic, they do. Yeah, we can't play around it. Couldn't play around it if we kept that land in hand either. So let's just keep doing it and just hope that this board as it is enough. Probably not. I'm assuming this is Team of Reclamation and they've got Storms, Wraths and things like that to just blow up this entire board. Because we haven't drawn any Explore creatures to pump up our Wild Growth Walkers yet. Which would be lovely. Sylvan Awakening would be lovely. We haven't got double blue anymore. Alright, well there's a Branch Walker for some pre-combat pumpage. Oh, it's got something. It's probably burn. They've already shown us they've got shocks. I imagine they've got a little bit more than that. I suppose it could be a 1,000-year storm list. Wouldn't that be interesting? Alright, top of the library. Pump the boys. Because they need to answer this board now. And answering this board might open us up to resolving a Frenzy next turn. So it's like Storm's Wrath or Bust here. Need to get rid of 2 of these creatures. Otherwise they're in a lot of trouble. And the life total that we've gained over this past couple of turns has just bought us a lot of time as well. So yeah, hopefully their forced proactivity will tap them out of the... Yep, tap them out of the stuff they need. So, I mean, we've already got lethal right now. I can't think of... I guess this Frenzied Rage. I'm just going to see what's on top and go for it. And that's the end. Alright, swing on in. They block, they take 4. Alright. Bit of a non-game, but yeah, it looks like it was Team of Reclamation, so I'm kind of happy we just beat them in general, to be honest, so I'll take it. Alrighty then, we're in, and I like this hand. It's not very rampy, but we do have turn 2 Branch Walker into turn 3 Swordtooth, and hopefully we're going to make some additional land drops that lead us into an early Nissa. We'll have to see. So, Stomping Ground tapped, and see what our opponent's on. What you got, opponent? Just Forest. Alright, Temple's not too bad either. Alright, so let's go Branch Walker. We actually do kind of want lands here, because we've got the Wayward Swordtooth to make additional land drops. Second Nissa, probably not necessary against the green deck. I dare say we can maintain our Nissa for quite some time. Wall of Mist. Hello. Alright, well, we're going to get down our Swordtooth, and we're going to play our Temple, and look for our combo pieces. We don't want another land, we just want our combo pieces. So, yeah, we've got Nissa next turn, which can swing through the Wall of Mist just fine. Since it's not going to be dealing any damage. I wonder what our opponent's actually doing. Are they actually like a High Alert deck with green in it, or... Yeah, they must be. It might be Arcades. Arcades is Bant. So, got to be aware that eventually our opponent will have the damage to push through. So, we got to really force it right now. So, untap a forest, get a swing in. Yeah. Call our opponent's bluff. And just hope that we don't see white source into Arcades here, otherwise it gets a little bit awkward. So far, so good. Ceruli Caretaker. That's not great. Alright, well, Jade Light Ranger. Find a mountain and a dryad, which we don't need. I'm going to put that in the trash. Play our land, get the city's blessing, which then allows us to start swinging, which is cool. And yeah, we're just gonna untap on the mountain, I guess. And swing again. One of these actually capable of killing things now. So just gonna take the 5, sure. And yep, we'll pass the turn. I think next turn we're going to be going with Sylvan Awakening and swinging through. They finally get their white source, which turns on their Arcades. And, well, do they dare attack is the question. Going after Nissa. How much do you dare attack with? And how much do we care? Is this sorcery speed, so you'd have to triple block to keep Nissa alive. I don't know if that necessarily serves as much good, to be honest, because we're going to be going 1, 2, 3, Sylvan Awakening. We've got 2, 5 blocked here, 5 blocked here, so it's 5, 6, 7, 8. It's not enough, unfortunately. I think they might actually win. That's a tilt. Alright, so we'll block like this, I guess is the play. Can only kill one of our lands. They chose to kill the mountain, which is weird. It's very weird. Alright, so float. Untap. And now we've got 5, 10, which is going to get blocked. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 damage. Oof. That's an oof. But they are going to lose their Arcades being forced to block here, so I guess we're going for it. So yeah, let's get in. And after the 2s. You done the math on that? No, you haven't. Alright then. I think we're 4-0, chat. We 3-0, 4-0, something like that. Some absurd win rate that we should not be having, but mostly because our opponents are not making the smartest of decisions anyway. But I'm gonna take it, because, I mean, there's no reward for winning, so, you know. It is what it is, I guess. Okay, we're in. We have no red mana, but other than that, this hand looks pretty great, and Jade Light Ranger could find us a Stomping Ground or a Rootbound Craig anyway, so yeah, we're going to keep this one. We're also on the play, which is great for Llanowar Elves. So, land, elves, go. Got a turn 3 Experimental Frenzy. Well, there's Stomping Ground, so do we go with Jade Light Ranger here? I think we might. We might also want to just go Llanowar Elves, just because at that point we don't have to shock ourselves, and we have more mana to hit things that require casting off the Experimental Frenzy. So now what we can do is we can either play this land here. I'm not entirely sure what we want to do. Oh, is it going to be Mono Green Tron? Well, let's see if they can keep up. Oh, hello. Alright, well, we've got no reason to play the Frenzy just yet. We might as well just empty our hand out. So let's go Dryad. Play a land, play Jade Light Ranger, and see what's on top. 2 lands, alright. So we can play 2 lands per turn now, thanks to the Dryads. We've got Steel Leaf Champion to go against, okay. I'm going to play the Fabled Passage, and then I'm going to play the Experimental Frenzy, I think. That way we've got the ability to... yeah, so we're going to be tapping the Llanowar Elves. We've got the ability to shuffle away the top card if we don't like it. So, land, and yep, let's shuffle. So, sacrifice Fabled Passage. Now we just want to hit Grab a forest. Hit things like that. And there's a Fabled Passage on top. That's the end of our roll, so let's just pass it back on over. So we play Mono Green Stompy that's using Nissa's Triumph. I've only ever seen this in the Green Tron list, and I don't like the name Green Tron because I think it's wrong. It's just wrong because there's nothing to do with Tron, but, you know, to each his own, I guess. It's very much based around Nissas and playing big Khans and things like that, which does sound very Tron-like in fairness. Alright, so we're going to play the Merfolk Branchwalker. That is going to explore the top card off. We've got a Frenzy, which we need to play. This is really, really unfortunate, but here we are. I guess we could crack our Frenzy, play our lands, play our Frenzy. Might as well, right? We don't really want to be stacking up Frenzies if we don't have to, so... Let's play our next Frenzy. We're back on the train again. The value train, chat. The value train. Well, good news is that if they kill our Frenzy, we've got a spare one. And if they don't, well, this Frenzy's going to go into the Immortal Sun. Ooh. It's going to go into our hand and we don't have to see it again. So there's only one Frenzy that we can hit. And I think that's basically the only bad card in our deck now. Let's go Temple. We probably don't want to hit a land here. We want to hit something cool like a Sylvan Awakening. Yeah, I think we're going to go for that. Green Sylvan Awakening. These guys have no vigilance, so... I think we're still swinging with everything. We've got to make the most of this, right? So swing, 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 swing. And... yeah, we'll get these in as well. There we go. I hadn't done the math. Maybe I've missed lethal. Who knows? Probably not. 2, 4, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Yeah. Okay. Alright, so they get to draw additional cards. Sure. It's a shame we can't play this Wayward Swordtooth, but it's the way the cookie crumbles. Basically just dig into our next Sylvan Awakening. They've got a Nissa. But unfortunately their main deck, yep, they're hovering their own Nissa to try and tick it up, but the Immortal Sun that they played themselves is preventing them from doing that. They do have double mana though, so at the end of the day, it ain't all that bad. But still, it's an odd choice for sure. So we can play 3 lands a turn. We've got a Fabled Passage. We want to be very careful with how our mana gets tapped here, because we want to keep that Fabled Passage around to shuffle away lands when we can't cast them ever again. Because the Dryad turns all of our lands into 5-color lands, so it will eventually try to use our Fabled Passage against us. And we don't want that. So we're going to just keep playing all the castables. Let's put that in the library. Pump the Walker, and yep, now you can see it's trying to tap your dudes. So we don't want that. We want to go Jade Light Ranger. This one we will keep on top, because we can cast it off the Llanowar Elves. There we go. We'll put that on top, and then I think we'll crack the Fabled Passage. Grab a forest. Opponent has had enough. Yeah, I think when our Wild Growth Walker got bigger than their Carnage Tyrant, they had a problem. I don't know why they're running Immortal Sun and Nissa in the same deck. I guess they just want it for the passive, but at the same time, it seems a bit weird. Chat, I just want to point out that we're 5-0 with this deck. 5-0. Some of them, admittedly, are games that we should have lost, but that's beside the point. We're 5-0. This deck is apparently really busted and overpowered. So, yeah, that's a thing, alright? Hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. It's been a doozy. I thought I would put this in Mana Burn, but clearly it's so good that, you know, it's tier 1. You know? I questioned certain things like 3 Nissas and 2 Sylvan Awakenings, but they have not disappointed us pretty much at all. It's just, yeah, this deck's a powerhouse. Oh, God. What a weird situation we find ourselves in. I should have put even a castle thingamajig in as well. But there you go. I guess we could do that now, so that when I upload the final deck list, it's all there. Let's go with... come on. I should just go in Castle Embereth, Castle Karenbrig. And then we want to go 1, 2... See, the problem is I have to cut down on mountains to do this. I also don't have all 4 temples, and I have no desire to craft them, if you were also curious about that. I will go with Rootbound Crag. That's probably the mana base that I'd probably go with. So, yeah. Enjoy this broken deck, chat. It's really fun when it's going off, making all the land drops in the game in one go, and then thinning your deck out of all your lands, or most of them at least, is really fun. And then just swinging for lethal. Oh god, what a weird list. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. I probably might come back to this deck at some point when it's got some more pieces. I don't know. Maybe when Ikoria comes around, lands elementals might be a thing again. Who knows? Who knows? It's all about big boys, so making additional land drops seems to fit the strategy a little bit as well. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, take care. Bye-bye.